I have to start everything on a bit of a different note and talk about the man that he's replacing, because you will have known, if you follow me for a while, that I backed Erik Ten Hag until the wheels came off. And I have no regrets about that, because as a fan, I feel like that's my job. I'm supposed to support the team, support the manager, but there is that fine line between, do you just become delusional and hope, and it's kind of 99% hope, 1% chance, and you start filling your head with things that might not happen, and then you kind of dilute the real picture of what's going on in front of your eyes. Now, I wanted Ten Hag to succeed massively. I really, really did. And something I said quite publicly at the time of us being linked with Amorim and all these other managers was, there still wasn't a manager that made me feel as excited watching their team as Erik Ten Hag's Ajax team did. That's still true. I still like watching that team, and its emphasis on youth, its dynamism in the midfield, and its progression through the thirds. It was just so nice to watch, and I have always been a subscriber to the Dutch style of total football anyway, and I just thought the Ajax way to Man United, it makes sense, and there was a history of great Dutch players at Man United and Ajax players, so it just thought that kind of made sense to me, but it didn't work out. And, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how sad I am about Ten Hag, because we have to move on to where things have moved to, which is still, we've gone for a young, exciting, progressive coach who will have a lot of place to grow at Man United, and it's kind of up to us to give him the chance to do that. But, the clear thing at the beginning of all this is that we know there are massive similarities between, Ten Hag's Ajax, like that sort of pedigree and, the aura he had over there, similar to what like Amorim has had at Sporting, because you still have two overachieving clubs. Ajax were just in a bad state. They should have been achieving what they were. Ten Hag came in and reminded them of who they are. But Amorim is different, because Sporting were almost always considered the third team in Portugal, and he's made them the top team for the past few years, and made them consistent in the Champions League, made them one of the most talked about teams outside of Europe's top 5 leagues. And I think what's really been nice to see with Amorim is that there's been such a clear progression in certain principles that I've really enjoyed seeing from afar, and hopefully we'll see at Manchester United. The identity that INEOS want is someone who's going to be here for a long term, someone who's going to be here to impose an identity and impose a structure on the playing side of the club. And Ruben Amorim is definitely that guy, and he aligns with already what we've been seeing from INEOS, because you look at that Sporting team and he built it from the ground up. He had players in there, sort of like, I think Yannick Bolasie might have been there when he was there. Hesse might have been there as well. And I'm hearing stories that apparently these types of players, not specifically them, but those types of players from the previous era before Amorim, who weren't up to his standards in the press or in the philosophy he wanted, they were shipped out. And he was backed by his organisation to do that. And look at the reward he got. He's got so many young players in that Sporting team who, by the way, even though he's left, these players that he's brought in, like a Diamonde and a Nacio, and so many more, Hjulmand and obviously Gyökeres, who was brought in, but he's developed, they will go and sell for stupid amounts of money, and that will set up Sporting for the next 20 years probably. That goes to show how good Amorim's system is, how good he is at acknowledging what his players are best at and suiting that system, and also to be flexible in his approach to bring the best out of each of their individual qualities. So he has all of those things, or he's shown to have all of those things. So to then come in at Manchester United, where we're all looking at, where's this player going to fit? Where's that player going to fit? I think we've actually got someone who's got the tactical brain to not just fit square pegs in round holes, but actually mold them into something that we can all understand what he's doing. And that is where Ten Hag struggled. That's where lots of managers have struggled. But it's where moving forward, I don't think Amorim will, because he's also got that structure behind him that are going to feed into his philosophy, because that's what they've done. INEOS weren't going to go and get a manager by paying their sign-on fees and paying the sign-on fees for all of their staff if they weren't going to back him. That's a lot. I haven't spoken to anyone from INEOS. I'm definitely summarizing, and I'm guessing that that's what's going to happen. But I'm pretty confident that that is their intention. One very big difference between the two. Now, I haven't sat down with him. I haven't met him. I don't know this, firsthand. But the man is charismatic. The man knows how to address the media, even when he was getting a few sly digs from the likes of Cotterill and all these people who, wanted to, make something of nothing while he was in his last few days at Sporting. He still maintained a lot of dignity for himself, for the club, for us. And he also showed that he can have a bit of a laugh and a joke. He can say things that gets people thinking rather than just bringing the pincers in on him. And that's where Ten Hag really failed. That's where he really failed, because I don't think he's that kind of guy. I'm not expecting him to be this calm, suave guy all the time, but to immediately have fed off a few daggers and to have left with some real class and dignity and under the fanfare of what the Sporting lot have done for him, it shows how loved he was, how connected he was with the fan base. And I think that's what he's going to emulate with us.